Sunday Baroque Conversations is made possible by the Friends of Sunday Baroque and is produced at WSHU Public Radio in Fairfield, Connecticut. I'm Suzanne Bona. Thanks for listening. Don't miss an episode of Sunday Baroque Conversations. Subscribe on Apple, Google, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. And please leave us a review. If you want to find out where you can listen to our weekly show, visit our website, sundaybaroque.org, for a station list and our 24/7 stream. Again, that's sundaybaroque.org. Music Haven in New Haven, Connecticut is an organization whose mission is to empower and connect young people through exceptional tuition-free music education, mentoring, and performance by its resident musicians, giving all kids a chance to play music. Violinist Gregory Tompkins is senior resident musician with Music Haven and a member of Haven String Quartet. 17-year-old Rain Bowman is a Music Haven student, a violinist, and a senior at New Haven Academy, and a part-time student coordinator at Music Haven. Gregory and Rain join me on Zoom to talk about the program and what it means to each of them and to the community. Welcome, and thank you to both of you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
So, Gregory, let's begin with you. Would you kind of explain and elaborate on Music Haven's mission and who are Music Haven's students?
Yes, absolutely. So our students come from all corners of New Haven, from New Haven Public Schools, New Haven Charter Schools, homeschool students, and we serve about 80 to 90 students from New Haven. And at the core of our organization is the Haven String Quartet, made up of myself, Yaira Machikubova, Philip Boulanger, and Annalisa Berner, along with two other fantastic resident musicians, Colin Ben and Patrick Doan. We teach these 80 to 90 students, and we see them usually about twice a week. And one of our goals as an organization is to provide sort of longitudinal education that students don't often have a chance to experience in public schools. You know, usually you have a different teacher every year, and Rain here has been stuck with me for almost 10 years. Yeah. So it's sort of a lot of similar models exist, but Music Haven has its own sort of unique take on the approach we take, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so the other important part of that relationship are the resident musicians. Would you talk a little bit about who are Music Haven's resident musicians and, where you all come from, where you've studied, and how you got into this commitment to this organization?
Yes, absolutely. So our resident musicians all have degrees and master's degrees from top-tier music conservatories all over the United States. I myself am a graduate of the Eastman School of Music in Rochester, New York, and New England Conservatory in Boston. Mm-hmm. Our other teachers have degrees from Yale, from Boston University, the Cleveland Institute of Music, Juilliard, all over the place. Mm-hmm. And we each sort of found our way to Music Haven in a different way. But I think the thing that really unites us is that we all have a passion for music education and a passion for chamber music. And
I understand that you and Rain are practicing now for the Bach double violin concerto.
That's true. Yes. Did Rain tell you about that?
She did tell me a little bit about that, so we can get to more of that. But Rain, I wanted to ask you. So you were in Mr. Gregory's first class of beginner violin students back when you both started, as he said, almost 10 years ago, 2013. You both started at Music Haven at the same time. Do you remember when you first started? Do you remember what that was like when you first got that violin in your hands?
I do remember. I remember being really shy. I was super quiet back then. And I also remember something really crazy happening, like someone's bridge popped off or something like that.
Wow. So, not yours though. Someone else's.
No, it wasn't.
Wow. And how did you pick the violin? How did you find your way to playing violin?
When I was in elementary school, my music teacher, she had recommended Music Haven because I always had an interest for playing an instrument. So Music Haven was a free program that I could join. So I
Yeah.
chose violin.
Yeah.
It was
So,
between like violin and piano at the
ah,
time.
okay. Okay. So, how, like, at what point did you say, wow, like, this is for me? Like, I really, this is my thing, music's my thing.
I think I said that like once. I was playing for a long time, but I really started to like the violin. Like once I got out of book two, I started to enjoy it. It was more fun. I
Mhm.
wasn't like stuck in a loop.
Yeah, yeah, good for you. Like, obviously, you've made quite a bit of progress if you're working on the Bach double violin concerto. That's a very big
Thing.
deal. So you want to talk, how about if you two talk a little bit about that? Like where are you going to be performing it? And what's that process like of learning an important piece where you are, sharing the solo spotlight with another musician? What's that like, Rain? Both for both of you.
Um, this was really fun because I don't think I've ever played like a duet like this with Mr. Gregory. And it's super challenging because there are some parts where it's like Mr. Gregory plays and I play, and it's kind of hard to know when to play and
Mhm.
to make sure that I keep my part steady while Mr. Gregory keeps his.
Right, right. Yeah, so music can be a good way of practicing communication, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and if I can just jump in on that, I have to
please.
say, with everything we do musically and everything we learn, this is the case. But with Bach double especially, it draws on. It's not that you're just learning a new set of skills for a new piece. You're also drawing on every single thing that you've learned for the past 10 years in order to make it possible. And what Rain was saying about it being hard to know when you're supposed to move and play, and how it's unlike any other duet she's ever played before. It's absolutely true. I remember the first time when I learned Bach double, and how it's sort of like it's just the most intricate puzzle, or maybe it's like I mean, I'm not a pilot, but it might be like formation flying at
Oh,
like the very very high speed, and everything has to fit together just exactly right.
yeah.
But it's really fun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When's the performance?
So I don't know that we haven't picked an official one where we're gonna do it yet. We have a number of things coming up in the springtime, which are possibilities. But as you know, Rain is graduating, so we got a window here. So I got some time pressure to figure it out.
Yeah, yeah, you sure do. So, Rain, you're now also working part-time as a student coordinator at Music Haven 4 days a week, and you're supervising and mentoring some of the younger students. What's that job like?
It can be challenging sometimes because I am like also close to the students' age, so it's kind of like weird for them to listen to me because I am around their age. And
Hmm.
also, it's a cool experience because I do also want to work with children like when I graduate from college and high school.
Hmm.
So it's cool to see how to interact with kids, how to get them to enjoy themselves, how to get them to like you, and
Right.
how to be able to not have like not discipline, but to be able to I can't find the word, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Influence them, mentor them.
Yeah.
So this is a good jumping off point for one of the other questions I wanted to ask you. Well, what is in your future, and what place will music have in your life in your future?
Um, I know that in college I want to minor in music. I will always love music, but I think that it won't always be the priority of my life,
Okay.
even though I love it. So
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm to keep it as a hobby,
Okay.
or maybe I'll be able to be like a strings teacher or something
Mm-hmm.
later on in life.
So what do you think you'll major in then if you're going to minor in music? Do you know?
Yeah, education.
Oh,
I would
excellent.
love to be like a preschool teacher or like elementary school teacher.
Excellent. Excellent. What wonderful teaching and mentoring you're receiving, and also what nice experience and good experience you're getting now in this role. That's excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I think it speaks to one of the great strengths of Music Haven, in that over the course of the longitudinal education, the opportunities we can provide to students when they are 17 are different than when they're 7. And so as Rain started developing a passion for working with younger students and a passion for education, she's also had the opportunity to, she worked with me at that 1-week Music Haven summer camp I ran last summer. She spent a lot of time assisting me at that camp. And then before the pandemic, she was also my teaching assistant for studio class and would often run the studio class for, 15 minutes or a half an hour at different points and work with the students on different songs. And that sort of flexibility that we have, I think is really amazing. And it's one of the things I really love about our program.
Yeah, yeah. And just for a young person to have the opportunity to sort of flex those muscles as a young person, because that's not always possible, right? In a job when you're a teenager, sometimes it's not so targeted to the things that you're so passionate and talented in. So that's amazing. Gregory, what are some of the changes that you've seen since you started at Music Haven in 2013? Whether it's, you just explained some really beautiful changes in Rain over the years, but, maybe changes in the programming, changes in the incoming students in general. How have you changed?
Well, I think one of the biggest things that's different about Music Haven since I started here, and I think Rain would agree with me on this, is that we have our own home location now. When I started at Music Haven in 2013, we did all of our teaching in the schools on site. And so that first group class that Rain was a part of was actually at John C. Daniels School in New Haven, which had its own benefits in that we got to know their teachers, got to see students in the environment that they were in all day. And then in 2017, we moved to the facility we're at now at Erector Square, where we have a large facility on the second floor. And it's really been a game changer over the past 5 years or so. Now students can come to be with us at Music Haven anytime they want to, basically, especially high school students. Rain is at Music Haven 5 days a week. And we've had situations where students sometimes have unusual schedules. We had a student a few years ago at Wilbur Cross, just right around the corner, who would finish on Wednesdays at like 10:30 in the morning. So she would come over to Music Haven at 10:30. Her parents were at work. She would come over to Music Haven at 10:30. She would do some homework, she'd do some practicing, hang out on her phone. But it was a place to be with folks she was familiar with, and it's really been an amazing change, an amazing thing to see Music Haven grow into this space here.
Wow. Yeah, like a community hub.
Yes,
for its
absolutely.
Participants. That's amazing.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So, Rain, what are some of the things you value most about your participation as a student at Music Haven?
Well, one thing I really value is I had the opportunity to create a lot of relationships with students and as well with teachers, because all the programs I've been in before, not even music related, I haven't been able to find someone that I can connect with like I do at Music Haven. Everyone here is so welcoming, so loving. So I really love that about Music Haven.
Aw, that's beautiful. And what about you, Gregory? What are some of the things you value most about your participation as a teacher and a mentor at Music Haven?
I think Rain really said it best. I think it's just an amazing community of really good-hearted folks who are just wonderful to be around and make art with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And, that's something that I guess the arts and music in particular have a real gift for, that, the loving, the heart part of it, that other things don't necessarily have. So that's amazing. So for both of you, what would you say, what's the, the elevator pitch, right? What would you say to convince a potential student to come study at Music Haven?
I think I would try to show them how Music Haven isn't like school. It's something fun. It's not something that is dreadful to think about. When you think about practicing something, you think, oh, I have to do this. But Music Haven, it makes it fun and enjoyable.
Yeah, well said. And how about you, Gregory? What do you think? What's your elevator speech?
Well, honestly, I think, especially when I'm talking to students, the best elevator pitch we can give is playing for them. I think that really can light a fire in a way that nothing else really can. And especially if it's a group of musicians that involve both faculty and students, I think it really showcases our program in a unique and special way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So sometimes, people who are put on the spot to perform, whether it's music or just a presentation at school or work or whatever, sometimes they get a little bit nervous. They get a little bit of butterflies or whatever. Rain, do you have to deal with that ever? Do you feel nervous or do you feel confident when you perform? How does that work? And how do you manage those circumstances, those emotions?
When I perform, I always feel nervous,
yeah.
But normally I just go for it, because if you think about it too much, you're going to end up messing up.
Yeah.
And I think just going for it makes it like really fun, because you can feel the adrenaline after.
Yeah. That's what all that practice and prep is for, right? So you can just go for it. So because everybody is potentially somebody who gets nervous when they perform, I'd love for you to answer that question as well. How do you manage? Do you get nervous, and how do you manage that?
Oh, absolutely. But I like to reframe it as excitement, in the same way that you get excited when you're about to, actually, I really don't like roller coasters, but when you're about to ride a roller coaster or go bungee jumping or skydiving, all things I don't do. But what I do instead is I play the violin on stage, which is it's very exciting. And I've always, I think a teacher a long time ago suggested that to me, to think about it like excitement. And then you just got to do exactly what Rain said, is you just got to go for it. You got to rely or trust yourself, and that you did all of the preparation you can, and that your fingers will remember what to do, and just really have a good time.
Yeah, great advice. I have been speaking on Zoom with violinist Gregory Tompkins, senior resident musician with Music Haven and a member of Haven String Quartet, and his student, 17-year-old Rain Bowman, a violinist and high school senior who has been studying at Music Haven since 2013. Thank you very much to both of you, and all the best.
Thank you so much for having us today.